The air in the coffee shop felt thick, like it was pressing against my chest, squeezing the breath out of me. I sat in the corner booth, the one with the cracked vinyl seat that smelled faintly of stale cigarettes, watching Lila across the room. Her laugh cut through the low hum of conversation, sharp and bright, like glass shattering. She leaned toward him. Some guy with a too-perfect jawline and a leather jacket that screamed he was trying too hard. Her hand rested on his arm, her fingers curling into the sleeve, and she didn't even glance my way. Not once. I was invisible, a ghost haunting the edges of her world, my coffee growing cold in my trembling hands. We'd been together for 2 years, Lila and me. 2 years of late-night talks, her head on my chest, whispering dreams about a house with a garden, maybe a dog. I'd believed every word, every promise. But now, watching her eyes light up for someone else, I felt the ground shift beneath me. My stomach churned, acid rising in my throat. Was this who we were now? Was this who she was? I tried to rationalize it. Maybe he was just a friend, a coworker, someone she'd known forever. But the way her body angled toward him, the way her smile lingered too long, it wasn't friendly. It was intimate. My fingers tightened around the ceramic mug, the heat biting my skin, grounding me in the moment. I wanted to storm over, demand answers, but my legs felt like lead. What if I was wrong? What if I was seeing things that weren't there? Doubt gnawed at me, a parasite burrowing into my thoughts. The barista called out an order, her voice jarring in the haze of my mind. I glanced at my phone, hoping for a text from Lila, something to explain why she hadn't acknowledged me since we walked in together 20 minutes ago. Nothing. Just the lock screen photo of us at the lake last summer, her arms around my neck, both of us laughing. The memory felt like a lie now, mocking me. I stood, my chair scraping against the hardwood floor, loud enough to make a few heads turn. Not Lila's, though. She was too absorbed, her laughter ringing out again, slicing through me. I grabbed my jacket, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might crack my ribs. I needed air, needed to escape the suffocating weight of her indifference. As I reached the door, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I froze, one hand on the cold glass, and glanced at the screen. A text from Mia, Lila's younger sister. Don't leave yet. My pulse stuttered. Mia wasn't even here. How did she know I was about to walk out? I turned back, scanning the room, half expecting to see her lurking in a corner. But there was only Lila, still oblivious, and the guy, now whispering something that made her blush. My throat tightened, a mix of anger and dread coiling in my gut. What did Mia know that I didn't? I stepped outside, the autumn air biting my face, carrying the scent of wet leaves and exhaust. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, typing and deleting a response to Mia. What's going on? I finally sent, my hands shaking. The 3 dots of her reply appeared, then vanished, then appeared again. Each second stretched, heavy with anticipation, like waiting for a guillotine to drop. Meet me at the park across the street. Now. I crossed the road, my boots crunching on gravel, the streetlights casting long shadows that seemed to twist and mock me. The park was nearly empty, just a jogger and a dog in the distance. Mia sat on a bench near the fountain, her dark hair tucked under a beanie, her face pale under the sodium glow. She looked up as I approached, her eyes wide, almost frightened. "Jake," she said, her voice low, barely above a whisper. "You need to know something." My heart sank, a stone plummeting into a bottomless well. "What is it?" I asked, though part of me didn't want the answer. Part of me wanted to run back to the coffee shop, to pretend I hadn't seen Lila's hand on his arm, hadn't felt the sting of her ignoring me. Mia hesitated, her fingers twisting the hem of her jacket. "Lila's been seeing him. For months." The words hit like a fist, knocking the air out of me. Months. Not days, not a fleeting mistake, but months. I staggered back, leaning against the cold metal of a lamppost. "How do you know?" My voice cracked, raw and desperate. "I saw them," Mia said, her gaze dropping to the ground. "At her place. Late at night. I didn't want to believe it either, but..." She trailed off, her eyes glistening. "I'm sorry, Jake. I should have told you sooner, but she's my sister." I kept hoping she'd stop, that she'd come clean. Anger flared, hot and sharp. But it wasn't just for Lila. It was for me, for being so blind, for clinging to the idea of us when the cracks were there all along. The late nights she'd claimed were work. The sudden silences when I asked about her day. The way she'd started pulling away, her kisses perfunctory, her eyes distant. I chalked it up to stress, to life, to anything but this. Why are you telling me now? I asked, my voice hoarse. Mia swallowed hard. Because she's planning to leave. With him. Tonight. The world tilted, colors bleeding into each other. Leave. The word echoed, hollow and final. I thought of the coffee shop, Lila's laughter, the way she hadn't even looked at me. She was already gone, wasn't she? I'd been holding on to a ghost. I turned back toward the coffee shop, my legs moving before my mind caught up. Mia called after me, but I didn't stop. The door chimed as I re-entered, the warmth hitting my face like a slap. Lila was still there, her head bent close to his, their hands intertwined now. The sight burned, a white-hot brand searing my chest. Lila, I said, my voice louder than I intended, cutting through the murmur of the room. She froze, her eyes snapping to mine, wide with shock. For a moment I saw guilt flicker there. But it was quickly buried under something colder, something defiant. Jake, she said, her tone careful, like she was stepping around broken glass. What's wrong? The guy looked between us, his jaw tightening, but he didn't let go of her hand. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but the words stuck in my throat. Instead I laughed, a bitter broken sound. What's wrong? You're holding his hand like I don't exist. Her face paled, but she didn't deny it. The silence was louder than any confession. The room seemed to shrink, the walls closing in. The air heavy with the weight of her betrayal. I waited for her to say something, anything, to beg, to explain, to lie. But she just stared, her lips parted, her eyes empty of the love I'd once seen there. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Mia. Check her bag. The tickets. I glanced at Lila's purse slung over the back of her chair. My hands moved before I could think, snatching it up. She lunged forward, her voice sharp. Jake, don't. But I was already pulling out the envelope, my fingers tearing it open. 2 plane tickets. One way. To Paris. Dated tonight. Her name and his printed side by side. The world stopped. The coffee shop faded, the sounds muffled, like I was underwater. I looked at Lila, searching for the woman I'd loved, but all I saw was a stranger. You were just going to leave? I whispered, my voice breaking. Without a word. Her eyes filled with tears, but they didn't fall. I didn't know how to tell you, she said, her voice trembling. I didn't want to hurt you. I laughed again, the sound jagged, tearing at my throat. Too late. I dropped the tickets on the table, turned and walked out, the door slamming behind me. The cold air hit me again, but this time it felt like freedom. My phone buzzed one last time. Mia. I'm so sorry. I didn't reply. I kept walking, the city lights blurring through tears I hadn't realized were falling. Lila was gone, but so was the weight of her lies. And in that moment I realized the worst betrayal wasn't hers, it was mine. For loving someone who'd never truly loved me back.